William shook his head. Fine. Deal with it as you see fit. After breakfast, William went out for some exercise. Sophie, that's not what I mean. Isabel was aggrieved. She genuinely did not mean that. What's wrong with this mouth of mine? That was not what she was trying to imply. Isabel, we will give you our support as long as you like him. That was all Sarah could say. Furthermore, Felix treats you very well. All of us can see that. Therefore, there's no need for you to feel stressed about it. Isabel clung onto Sarah's arm. Aunt Sarah, you are the best. I love you. See, no matter what happens, Aunt Sarah is always on my side. That is true love. After breakfast, Isabel was going to TS. Since Sarah was going the same way, she decided to drop Isabel off. How about the two of you? Are you planning to rest at home, or do you have something on? Sarah asked Tristan. Sophie needs to go to the University of Medicine, so we won't be coming home tonight. When they were here in the Lombard residence, all of them took up too much of Sophie's time. He did not stand a chance at all. All right then. Sarah took her car key and warmed up the engine while waiting for Isabel. Isabel had changed into a sweet-looking dress, and she looked very pretty. Sophie, are you really not coming back tonight? I still have lots to talk to you about. There were some aspects of her new album that she was not so sure about. We won't be coming back tonight. If there's anything, you can come to the mansion to look for us. Okay. Once Isabel had gotten Sophie's permission, she left happily. Meanwhile, Tristan had a change of clothes and came downstairs. He placed his arm around Sophie's waist and began to walk out. Didn't I tell you to ignore her? Don't let her disturb us. He just wanted to be alone with her and had no wish to have a third wheel with them. Doesn't she have any self-awareness at all? By doing so, she's extremely annoying. Mr. Tristan, I find Isabel very adorable. Why do you dislike her so? Furthermore, Isabel was his niece. Adorable? Who? Me or her? Tristan gazed at her in earnest. Sophie found his expression hilarious. This man is too much. To outsiders, he looks like a chaste Prince Charming. When he is with me, he becomes such a jealous man. And he is jealous about his own niece. It's you. You are the most adorable. Forget it. There's no way I can reason things out with him. Then give me a kiss. Sophie had no choice but to stand on her tiptoes and give him a peck on his lips. When they turned around, they saw William standing there and watching them. Sophie blushed immediately. This is all his fault. Why must he try to be romantic anytime and anywhere? Dad, didn't you go out for your exercise? Tristan, on the other hand, looked unperturbed. In truth, he was feeling a little awkward after his father caught him kissing his girlfriend. However, now was not the time to panic. As long as he maintained his cool, his father would be the one who was embarrassed. Oh, I didn't see anything. Carry on. Naturally, William was also feeling a little awkward when he saw the young couple kissing. Then again, he knew that there was hope for grandchildren when he saw that Tristan and Sophie were on good terms. With that in mind, he walked away quietly. Shall we continue? Now that his father had left, Tristan asked Sophie. Sophie glared at him. What a shameless man. How shameless can he get? Let's go. Tristan could not help but laugh out loud when he saw her stalk off. All right then. He found her very endearing. Once they got into the car, he pressed a kiss on her head when he saw that she was still fuming. Are you still angry? You. What a scoundrel. Mr. Tristan, I think it's better that you behave yourself in public places in the future. It was so embarrassing when William saw them kissing earlier on. Fine, then I will kiss you in private from now on. How about that? He was an agreeable person. Sophie was speechless. How am I going to answer that? Forget it. I better not say anything. Once they arrived at the University of Medicine, Tristan got out to open the door for Sophie. Are you sure you don't need me to go with you? No, it's fine. Go and do your things. He had lots to deal with as well. There was no way he could stay by her side all day long. All right. Once you're done, give me a call. I'll come and fetch you. Sure. Go on then. Why are you in such a hurry to chase me away? You don't want to see me, do you? Why is my Sophie always chasing me away? That's not true. You know I have something on, don't you? Sophie was exasperated. All right then. I'll make a move first. Once Tristan left, both Simon and Sandra came over. They knew she was coming, so they had been waiting for her. In recent times, the two had been learning lots of things at the medical association. As such, they had become more mature. Sophie, you're finally back. The moment Sandra saw Sophie, she ran up to give the latter a hug. How was it? Was it very exciting in Anglander? Naturally, they knew what Sophie had been up to in Anglander. They did not want to disturb her, and that was why they did not call her. Everything was all right. That was how experiments were. There was nothing thrilling about them. One just had to keep repeating the same thing for a long time until one arrived at the desired result. Sophie, are you here because you are skipping a grade? Everyone in the University of Medicine knows about that, and they are all talking about it. Simon, on the other hand, did not hug Sophie as the thought of Tristan stopped him. Yes, I plan to skip to the 4th year. There were lots of discussions about her on the forum of the University of Medicine, but she paid them no mind. If you ask me, Sophie, I think you should be able to graduate right now. They knew how capable Sophie was. As for those people who mocked and insulted her, they were just jealous of her. The two of you go to your classes first. I have to go to the Chancellor's office. She had finished the course contents of the 2nd and 3rd years. It was only right that she skipped to the 4th year. All right then. Go on. Sandra knew that Sophie was going to the Chancellor's office because she planned to skip grades. That was why she did not want to waste Sophie's time. However, Sandra was still worried when she noticed how much weight Sophie had lost. Simon, do you really think Sophie can skip grades? I heard that a few professors are against the idea. Don't worry. Do you know who she is? She's Sophie. With her abilities, she can graduate right away, let alone skip grades. Along her way to the Chancellor's office, Sophie heard her fellow schoolmates gossiping about her when they saw her. Did you hear? Sophie is going to skip grades. Yes, I heard, and she's going to skip directly to the 4th year. What right does she have to do that? I study so hard every day and put in so much effort. As for her, classes began a month ago, yet she only came today, and the moment she arrives, she wants to skip grades. What right does she have? Just the fact that she has a powerful backer. Life is unfair. All of you are just jealous of her. I feel that Sophie has the right to skip grades. We know how capable she is. Just look at her performance when she was in her 1st year. You know she isn't like the rest of us. How can a genius be compared to the normal people? What do you mean by that? Just because she's a genius doesn't mean she can do whatever she wants. If she gets to skip grades, then what about people like us who work our asses off? What's wrong with that? Just because you aren't talented enough doesn't mean others can't skip a grade or two. Sophie turned a deaf ear to those words. What her schoolmates thought had nothing to do with her. She only wanted to finish her education as soon as possible. In truth, she could have studied at home, but she was worried that the Chancellor of the University of Medicine would not agree to it. Hence, she attended school as usual. Very soon, Sophie arrived at the Chancellor's office. When he saw her, he seemed troubled. Initially, he had promised to let Sophie skip grades when she returned. However, a few professors opposed the idea, which complicated things. Sophie, I'm sorry to make you come all the way here. Sophie's trip to Anglander was confidential. As such, several people had no idea what she had been doing there. After disappearing for a month, she returned and wanted to skip grades. It was only natural that some professors were against the idea. Mr. Sawyer, please don't worry about it. I can settle this issue. This is nothing at all. All right. The professors are waiting in the conference room. Let's go over there right now. Don't worry. No matter what happens, I will always be on your side, Dominic stated his position clearly. Sophie's performance during the virus incident was outstanding. She was the pride of the University of Medicine. There was no way he would forsake her at a time like that. Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Dominic personally brought Sophie to the conference room. When they entered, those professors who opposed shook their heads. A beautiful girl like her should be working in the entertainment industry. Since she has decided to join the University of Medicine, she should study quietly like the rest of them. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. No matter how talented she may be, we don't like students who behave like her. My dear colleagues, Sophie has now returned from overseas. Since she has already completed the coursework for the second and third year, I think it should be all right for her to skip grades. Mr. Sawyer, since the day the University of Medicine was established, there hasn't been a student who skipped grades. If this happens, what will the rest of the students think? That's right. No matter how talented she is, she cannot go against the rules of the University of Medicine. Furthermore, there is a lot of practical knowledge to be learned other than theoretical knowledge. These are not things that she can learn on her own. I agree. That's why we won't agree to Sophie skipping grades. All right. I understand now. Dominic was getting a headache. Sophie, what do you think? I want to skip grades. Besides, I'm informing you and not asking for your permission. Naturally, if you think I'm unfit to skip grades, I'm willing to be assessed by all of you. If that did not work, there was nothing else she could do. It was not necessary for her to be at the University of Medicine. Mr. Sawyer, look at her attitude. As a person who is learning medicine, she should be more humble. True. We don't need an arrogant student like her in our university. Sophie was getting irritated. So, no matter how good I am, you just won't allow me to skip grades, will you? You just want me to waste my time here. Sophie sounded very cold. Don't they know that time is money? Fine. In that case, we will let you skip grades if you pass our assessment. Ha. Deal. But, if you fail our assessment, you must never talk about skipping grades again. It's better to be a down-to-earth person than to be overly ambitious. To that, Sophie said nothing. Fine. Just let me know when and where. With that, Sophie turned to Dominic and said, Mr. Sawyer, I still have something on. I shall make a move first. It was only an assessment, and it was not something she was afraid of. Dominic nodded. Go on then. Don't mind their attitudes. They won't make things difficult for you as long as you pass the assessment. Sophie nodded. After she left, the professors began to discuss Sophie's assessment. We'll do it this way then. There will be two components in this assessment. One will be a written test, and the other will be a clinical test. Even if Sophie passed the written test, she might not pass the clinical test since there were so many different kinds of complex and unusual illnesses. The three of you will be responsible for the written test. Remember, you must find the most difficult questions. Otherwise, just use the doctorate questions. When Dominic heard their conversation, he could not help but comment, why must you make things hard for her? The doctorate questions are so difficult. Mr. Sawyer, please stay out of this. We are just trying to protect the reputation of the University of Medicine. Every student who graduated from the University of Medicine would be a walking advertisement for their university. Furthermore, human lives were at stake. There was no way they could take it lightly. Fine. But remember not to cross the line. Sophie is the pride of the University of Medicine. Whoever offends her will have to beg her to come back later on. I don't care what method you use to get her to come back. She was the highest achiever in the university entrance exam and a talented student. Naturally, she did not expect to be bullied while studying at their university. Jipsdale University had been eyeing her for quite some time now, hoping that Sophie would study at their university. The same could be said of the Medical Research Institute. In the meantime, the news of Sophie's impending assessment had spread throughout the campus. Sandra found it annoying when she heard everyone gossiping about it. What's wrong with those old fogies? Why is there an assessment? They are obviously trying to make things difficult for Sophie. This is too much. Sandra was outraged by the news. Simon handed her a milkshake. Enough. There's no need to be so angry. A simple assessment like this won't bother Sophie. Simon had complete faith in Sophie now. Sophie arrived while both of them were speaking. Simon then handed her the other cup of milkshake. Will you be okay with the assessment? Although Simon was also feeling anxious, he, as a man, couldn't show it, unlike Sandra. Don't worry. I'm confident I'll pass. Sophie took the milkshake in her hands, poked the straw in, and sipped it. It's my favorite flavor. How are both of you settling in at the Medical Association? A month has passed since you started. We're good, Sophie. I really like it there. It would be fantastic if we can join them once we graduate, Sandra replied excitedly. She was well aware that Sophie was the reason she could enter the Chilean Medical Association in the first place. Nevertheless, they still had to rely on themselves for the assessment. I'm sure you can do it. Sophie had invited Sandra for the internship due to the potential she saw in the latter. That's right. You've made significant progress recently, Sandra. I'm sure you'll be able to pass with flying colors. What about you, Simon? What are your plans? Sophie inquired. Of course I want to join the Medical Association too. They have Barney and Professor Gulliver working there, after all. These men are the paragons of the medical industry and Dad's idols. Dad would be ecstatic if I were to have the opportunity to work with them. Keep up the good work then, Sophie encouraged them with a smile. When she saw the twinkle in their eyes, Sophie knew that she had made the right call. Even though the Chilean Medical Association had some way to go before catching up with the International Medical Association, she was confident the gap could be closed with all of them there. Ever since Sophie's return, she had yet to visit the Medical Association. Thus, it was her intention to drop by and see how Georgina was doing. Since Simon and Sandra still had class, they couldn't go with her. No sooner had Sophie come out than she saw a familiar silhouette. She then walked over and stood by Caleb's side. Are you here to see me? Sophie asked. Since Caleb wasn't from the medical faculty even in the past, the reason he was there was clear. I'm here to see you. Caleb was aware that his sister was never a talkative person. Despite finally coming back from Englander after so long, she never returned to the Tanner residence. It was as if she had no intention of doing so anymore. Come home for dinner tonight if you're free. Considering the chaotic situation Englander was in now, Caleb had no plans to go back after this. After all, with the qualifications he obtained in Englander, he was highly sought after in Jipsdale. I'm busy. Her home was no longer what it was since Josiah's death. Going back would only upset others and herself at the same time. Thus, she didn't see the point in doing so. Caleb's brows furrowed in response. Sophie, we're still a family no matter what. Just let bygones be bygones. With her current capabilities, there's no need to be bitter about the past. Stop patronizing me, Caleb. I can decide on my own affairs. I don't need someone else to tell me what to do, Sophie retorted before turning to leave. Sophie, we're family. Can we really not go back to the way things were? Doesn't she already have control of Tanner Group? What more does she want? Is it really necessary to take such a harsh stance? Sophie didn't even spare him a glance as she replied, I think everything is great now. I'm not bothered by those I dislike and have no desire to see them. With that, she hopped into a taxi and left. Caleb was confused by her response. I really don't understand her. It's true that she had suffered a lot previously and there were plenty of misunderstandings. However, hasn't Willow been punished for her actions? Why does she insist on harboring such resentment? When Caleb finally came home after spending some time outside, Charmaine heaved a sigh at the sight of him. Caleb, didn't I tell you not to waste any more time on Sophie? She won't appreciate what you're doing. That ruthless girl has no respect for anyone. He should just give up on her. Mom, from now on, you should treat Sophie better. Feeling helpless, Caleb thought that he had to do something. Unfortunately, all the hurt and bad blood would not be erased by just a few words. His retort rendered Charmaine speechless. What's the point of treating her better? She's not going to be grateful for it anyway. Meanwhile, Willow had learned about Sophie's impending assessment from the internet. The fact that the latter was about to jump grades blew her mind. In contrast to the past when she never held her younger sister in high regard, she was now afraid of offending Sophie. All she could do was secretly hope Sophie would somehow fail. We're all daughters of the Tanner family, so why does she get all the glory? That was the reason Willow kept herself updated with news about Sophie. She continued to pray hard for the day Sophie would just drop dead. Upon Sophie's arrival at the medical association, Arius shook his head after finding out about her assessment. I'll be honest here. Not attending the University of Medicine isn't going to make a difference to you. With your capabilities, you can just study on your own. The professors at the University of Medicine have nothing more to teach her. All right now, let's stop discussing this. Sophie didn't want to dwell on the topic. It's necessary for me to continue my studies, as there's still stuff for me to learn at the University of Medicine. Besides, doesn't he know that learning is a lifelong process? Fine. Do what you want. There's no way some sort of assessment can get in her way. Those old fogies will definitely be disappointed. Upon hearing of Sophie's return, Georgina went to see her at once. The former looked a lot more experienced since Sophie saw her a month ago. It was a look that told Sophie how well she had settled in at the medical association. It was also the first time Georgina saw Arius in a very long time. When Arius felt her gaze fall upon him, he was quite lost as to how he should respond. Why don't both of you catch up? I'm going to see Dr. Smith, as I have something to discuss with him, Arius suggested before walking away. However, Georgina's gaze continued to trail his silhouette. He's not into me. That explains why he's not reciprocating my feelings for him. Georgina thought that she would no longer feel hurt upon learning the truth. Unfortunately, she couldn't be any more wrong. Are you all right, Georgina? Sophie asked in concern. Arius. Before Sophie could finish, Georgina shook her head. You don't have to say anything, Sophie. I understand. He doesn't like me, that's all. It was now Sophie's turn to shake her head. What has Arius done? He has hurt her for real this time. Sophie, I would like to leave the medical association for the time being. Upon regaining her senses, Georgina informed Sophie of the reason she wanted to see her. Why? Is it because of Arius? Not really. Even though I fancy him, I'm not going to give up my job over something like that. Georgina tried hard to maintain the nonchalant expression on her face. As you're well aware, my parents are worried about me living alone in Jipsdale. They feel that I should look for someone reliable to take care of me if I want to continue staying here. She could understand where her parents were coming from. Jipsdale was a big city filled with all sorts of characters who made her parents worry. What do you mean? My parents have planned to matchmake me with someone, and I need to make a trip back home. The man her parents approved of was from her hometown. Thus, they hoped that she would come back to meet him. Since she was single, she didn't mind going along with her parents' plan. What if you hit it off? Does it mean that you're not coming back? Sophie still hoped that Georgina could manage the medical association. Perhaps. I do feel lonely here sometimes. Now that my parents are advanced in age, I shouldn't let them worry about me. The big city does make me feel the need to have someone. Who knows? Having a boyfriend and starting a family might be what's best for me. Fine. Don't overthink it for now. Just treat this as a holiday. Go home and see whoever you need to, and come back whenever you feel like it." Sophie, empathizing with her friend, was extremely supportive. Her response caused Georgina to give her a hug. "Thank you, Sophie." To be able to work at the medical association was indeed a huge stepping stone in her career. "I might not ever come back, so I just want to thank you for all that you've done for me." Tears began to well up in Georgina's eyes. She was never one to be sentimental, but the thought of her living in a different city and leaving everything here behind still saddened her. "Georgina, don't give yourself too much pressure. Regardless of what happens, you have my support. All that matters is that you find happiness." "Yeah." Georgina packed and left for her hometown that very day. Arius only found out about it when he sought her out the next day. He had no idea where she went and felt as if a large part of his heart went missing upon learning of her departure. It was a sensation that he had never felt before. Without a moment's hesitation, he went to the lab to see Sophie, who coincidentally had business there. Sophie stopped what she was doing the moment she saw him. "What do you want?" "Whatever it is, get straight to the point." "I'm really busy now." "Is Georgina on leave?" Arius inquired. "Is something wrong?" "She has never taken a day off ever since she started working here." "Something must have happened. Why do you care so much when you're not interested in her?" "Since you have no feelings for her, you should keep your distance to prevent her from getting the wrong idea." Arius grabbed his hair in frustration as he snapped, "I just want to know where she went." It wasn't until Sophie stared at him in silence that Arius realized he had lost his composure. "I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. I just don't want any harm to come to her as she's now an employee of the medical association." Arius cooked up an excuse. "Is that so? In that case, there's nothing for you to worry about. Georgina has gone back to her hometown to be matchmade and will probably get married." "Matchmade? Doesn't she have feelings for me? Why is she attending a matchmaking session? Since you don't fancy her, she might as well find a man who does and get married. Going forward, there'll be nothing left between the two of you. Isn't it great? Damn it, doesn't she have feelings for me? Why did she change her mind so quickly?" Arius couldn't help but swear. "Since you're not keen, how can you expect her to wait for something that will never happen?" Sophie responded without mincing her words. "Men are always like that. They never appreciate a girl's feelings when it's there, yet they feel indignant when it's gone. Fine, I get it. Matchmaking will do her some good." Arius didn't understand why he felt a sudden squeeze in his heart. "Since Georgina has made her choice, there's nothing I can say about it." Nevertheless, he couldn't concentrate the entire day at work. When Barney saw how distracted he was, he kicked Arius out of the lab in exasperation. "Look at the condition you're in. Just get some rest and stop wasting time here." He shouldn't be conducting experiments if he isn't feeling good. After being chased out, Arius ran into Sophie on her way home. He hurried up to her and asked, "Do you know where Georgina's home is?" "I do." "Why? What are you planning to do?" "Let me warn you, Arius. You had better not see her if you're not interested in her. Georgina was devastated when she left." "Fine. Can you now tell me where it is?" "Why should I?" Sophie wasn't going to make it easy for him. "I'm going to see her. That should do, right?" Sophie laughed out loud. "What are you laughing about? Do you know it or not?" Sophie can find out anything with her computer skills, which is why I came to her. I'll send it to your phone in a while. If you're interested in her, pursue her. Otherwise, you won't get the chance once she's married." The moment she finished, Sophie walked off to Tristan's car. She was still wearing the same smile on her face when she opened the door. Her delighted expression sparked Tristan's curiosity. "What happened? Why do you look so happy today?" "Something rare yet wonderful is about to happen. All these years, I have been the only girl by Aria's side, and he has never had a girlfriend before. That's why he doesn't know how to talk to a girl. But this time, he is left with no choice. Arius, Tristan knew Sophie like the back of his hand. He could quickly tell from a casual comment of hers what was going on. Yup. Georgina has gone back to her hometown to be matchmade, finally making him anxious. Do men always need to be shocked into action? Give Georgina a call and tell her to ignore him. Why? He won't learn how to appreciate her if he succeeds too easily. She should play hard to get for a while. Are you feeling indignant on Georgina's behalf, or do you just enjoy watching Arya suffer? Sophie tilted her head to give him a curious look. Both, actually. Tristan didn't hide his ill intentions at all. With that, Sophie opened an app on her phone and found Georgina's hometown address with the latter's ID number. Upon obtaining it, she sent it to Arius. The press conference about Isabel's new album was in the afternoon, and Sophie and Tristan were there. By the time they arrived, Isabel was already done with her makeup backstage. Felix was there beside her, and it seemed like they had made up. When Isabel saw Sophie and Tristan, her smile widened. Sophie, I'm so nervous. I really love my new album, and I wonder if my fans will like it too. You don't need to worry. As long as it's good, the fans will like it. Furthermore, the album received a great deal of attention and investment from TS Entertainment. Therefore, there would be no issues in terms of quality. You're right. When it was time, the manager came over to bring Isabel to the site. Ms. Sophie, we're definitely going to succeed this time, the manager said, confident about the album. I know. Best of luck. TS Entertainment had become one of the most popular entertainment agencies, and plenty of artists expressed an interest to join it. Don't worry, Ms. Sophie. We'll do our best and not let you down. The employees of TS Entertainment loved their company, for working there meant that they did not need to worry about the complicated matters that often occurred in the entertainment industry. All they needed to do was focus on their jobs, and TS Entertainment would handle the rest. They did not need to attend social drinking sessions and dinners, and nor did they need to butter people up for the sake of their careers. The company was basically a refuge in the storm called showbiz. Felix went out as well. The press conference site was teeming with people from various backgrounds, and he was worried that something bad might happen. In most situations like this, Felix would usually stick by Isabel's side. Taking in Felix's protective manner, Sophie commented, they're a good match. Isabel's worries are for nothing, really. The love Felix has for her is genuine, and everything he does is for her. Yes. Felix is my best friend, and I know what kind of person he is. He really does love Isabel. That was why Tristan had never opposed their relationship. Why didn't you help Felix out when your father was chastising him, then? That's his issue. If he can't even handle that properly, how is he going to be with Isabel? Isabel was a singer, and there were many things she needed to face in her line of work. As the man behind her, Felix had to be a good support for her. Come on, let's go to the front, Tristan said before grabbing her hand and walking out of the room. The two of them then took their seats in the front row. There were many reporters who attended the conference. After all, the media's attention would always be caught as long as it was a TS Entertainment artiste who was holding a press conference. TS Entertainment, despite being established only a little over a year ago, was already thriving. Regardless of whether it was the Wheelers, Cecilia, or Isabel, who had recently risen to fame, were all popular. The press conference was packed with many of Isabel's die-hard fans. Everything went smoothly at the start. Furthermore, the moment the press conference began, Isabel's title track was premiered on various music platforms as well. Sophie checked those platforms and noticed that Isabel's song was gaining traction the second it was released. Furthermore, the media was enamored with Isabel's character, so everything seemed to be going well. When it was time for the fan meeting, one of the fans abruptly hugged Isabel, rendering her stupefied. Isabel, I don't know if you know this, but I've been in love with you since you debuted. I'm obsessed with you. Can you be my girlfriend? I'm sorry, but can you let me go? You're hurting me. Isabel was frightened out of her mind, for she had never encountered something like this before. Worse still, the crazy fan even tried to kiss her. Ah! Isabel screamed. In the next second, Felix darted over to grab the towering man and shove him away. Then, he kicked the man's stomach. I can't believe he did that to my woman. Does he have a death wish? The sudden occurrence shocked everyone present, and once the reporters came back to their senses, they started rapidly taking photos of the scene. Meanwhile, Felix lifted the man off the floor and started beating him up. Sophie and Tristan quickly went to the front. Sophie held Isabel, and Isabel, who was trembling with fear, hugged Sophie in return. Sophie patted her back and consoled her. It's okay. You're okay now. Okay. Isabel only calmed down after hearing Sophie's voice. When she realized Felix was still hitting the other man, she hastily grabbed his hand. Felix, don't do this. I'm fine, Isabel told him, fearing that something worse might happen if Felix were to continue. Furthermore, there were reporters around. The consequences would be unimaginable if things escalated. Felix only calmed down when Isabel held his hand. In the next second, he pulled her into his arms. I'm sorry for failing to protect you. He had been right by her side, but he still failed to keep her safe. Don't say that, Felix. This has nothing to do with you. No one knew he was going to do that to me. At that point, Isabel could not be bothered about how the reporters might take photos of her being in Felix's arms. She was just a singer. There was nothing she could do even if the reveal of her love life affected her music career. Felix, take her inside first. I'm going to handle the situation, Sophie said. The scene was chaotic, and all of Isabel's fans were watching the drama unfold. Okay. Ignoring everyone around him, Felix carried Isabel into his arms and began walking backstage. The manager, who was shaken, quickly followed him in. Do you know who I am? How dare you hit me? Believe it or not, I'm going to make your life a living hell. The man on the ground screamed hysterically. Is that so? Who are you then? The look in Sophie's eyes was a glacial one. Isabel had always been the beloved princess they all doted on, and Sophie couldn't tolerate the fact that the man had done such a revolting thing to her. I'm... Right then, a few fans, who had finally snapped back to their senses, started beating the man up. Damn you! Who cares who you are? How dare you do such a thing to our dear Isabel? The tall man was attacked by several fans at once, so he could not fight back in retaliation. The only thing he could do was cover his head with his hands. The reporters continued to snap photos of the scene. As the press conference was broadcasted live on the internet, Sophie asked the security to stop the agitated fans, not wanting the incident to ruin Isabel's reputation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure none of us expected something like this to happen. As Ms. Lombard has been frightened by the incident, we will be ending the press conference earlier than expected, Sophie said through the microphone. Also, the photos you have taken today have to be reviewed by TS Entertainment before you can release them to the public. Ms. Tanner, how can you do this to us? We're the ones who took the photos, so we have the right to release them. What right do you have to assert control over us in this way? That's right. You were the one who invited us to this press conference. Naturally, we have the right to report what happened here today. Here. You can't be so aggressive just because TS Entertainment is doing well now. Sophie narrowed her eyes. Is that so? Why don't you guys give it a try, then? Let's find out whether or not TS Entertainment can assert control over this situation. With that said, Sophie made a call to TS Entertainment's public relations team. Once she handed the matter over to the professionals, the fan who assaulted Isabel was soon brought away by the police. It was only after that did Sophie and Tristan head backstage to check on Isabel. When they saw her, Isabel was drinking water from a glass. Her previous pallor had been replaced by her usual rosy cheeks, and Felix was still right beside her. Sophie, I'm sorry. I didn't expect things to turn out this way. As the press conference had been broadcasted live, everyone on the internet was talking about what just happened. Some were even making guesses about Isabel's relationship with Felix because of Felix's aggressive response earlier. Only a fool would think that there was nothing between the two of them. Sophie went over to pat her on the cheek. You don't need to worry about this. You've done well. Leave the rest to your co-workers, okay? Moreover, she's a victim in this incident. How can I possibly rest now? My album is getting released today, but this happened. Isabel, do you not trust me? Sophie was confident in her ability to handle the issue. Isabel, let's go back first. Sophie can handle this well. You just need to have trust in her. Okay. Isabel was in great discomfort after getting hugged by a stranger. As if that wasn't bad enough, the man tried to fondle her as well. Hence, she was quiet on her way back. At that, Felix sighed. When Isabel's phone rang, she glanced at the screen and realized it was from her grandfather. She picked up the call. I'm fine, Grandpa. I'm with Felix right now. I'll be coming back soon. Despite everything that happened, Isabel still did not want her family to worry about her. When Felix finally stopped the car, he turned to look at her. Isabel, are you sure you're fine? Felix asked. He had seen her trembling on the stage earlier. Isabel forced a smile. Many of her fans were guys, but she did not think much about it because she had never encountered an incident like this. However, after what happened earlier, she was genuinely afraid. Felix, what do I do? Felix got down from the car and carried her out to get some fresh air by the side of the road for a while. Don't think of anything. Just know that I'm always by your side and that I won't let anyone touch you anymore, he reassured, pulling her into his arms. He even tried to touch me. Isabel cried out, aggrieved. She loved singing, and she wanted to be a good singer. She could not wrap around her head why those crazy fans would do that to her. It was not as if she had ever worn any revealing clothes. I know. You're okay now. I'll never let him off the hook, Felix assured. That man was a grown-up, so he has to pay the price for his actions. I'll definitely make him pay. Then kiss me, Isabel uttered, moved by how sweet Felix was to her. Felix obliged and leaned down to kiss her. Let's go back now. Grandpa's waiting for me at home. He must be worried, she said, certain that her grandfather had been watching the press conference live as well. Of course. I'll send you back. Felix then lifted her into his arms again before walking over to the car. With one hand holding her, he opened the door with the other. After gently putting her down on the front passenger seat, he buckled her seatbelt for her. Frankly, Felix hoped that she would leave the entertainment industry after that incident. However, it was not the right time for him to talk about that with her. What he needed to do at that moment was to calm her down first. He drove her to the Lombard residence, but when they arrived, Isabel remained in the car instead of getting out right away. She knew that the earlier incident had given everyone a scare. Thus, she retrieved her lipstick and dabbed it on her lips. Afterward, she patted her cheeks to improve her pale complexion. What are you doing? Felix asked, heartbroken at the sight of Isabel trying to make herself seem fine so that her loved ones wouldn't worry. I don't want Grandpa to worry. He's old, and I think he saw the live broadcast, she told Felix. Everyone said she was a willful child, but she was trying her best to be a sensible and considerate person. Felix was sad to see her acting in this way. I'm sorry for failing to protect you. He was right next to her, but he still didn't react in time and allowed that disgusting man to hug her. Felix, don't say that. I know you've done your best, Isabel said, not wanting him to keep blaming himself for the matter. Furthermore, it was never his fault to begin with. All right, let's head in first. Felix then came out of the car and walked over to the other side to open the door for her. The second she stepped out of the car, the miserable look she had earlier was gone, giving way to a bright smile. Isabel was so sweet and thoughtful that it sometimes broke the hearts of people who loved her. She was the precious princess of the Lombard family, and she could have been more prideful and spoiled. Yet, she was always putting herself into other people's shoes. Felix put his arm around her waist. Hey, what are you doing? You know my grandpa doesn't like you. He's going to chide you again when he sees you doing this. It's fine. No matter what happens from now on, I'll be by your side. You should know that I'm never afraid of anything. He had been working for Tristan for a long time, and he had his own principles and morals. Furthermore, what was the point of living if he could not even protect his girlfriend? Thus, Felix went in with his arm around Isabel's waist. Surprisingly, William did not say anything when he saw them. Sure enough, he had seen the press conference, so he knew what Isabel just went through. That was why the only thing he felt when he saw Isabel was heartache. Belle, you'll be fine. I'll protect you. I'm going to teach that idiot a lesson for you, William reassured her. He could not believe that man had the audacity to do such a horrible thing to his granddaughter. He must have a death wish. Meanwhile, Isabel chuckled when she heard her grandfather's words. Don't worry, Grandpa. I'm really fine. See, I look fine, right? Felix and Uncle Tristan were there, so he didn't get to do anything to me. William's heart only ached even more when he heard that. The entertainment industry is murky waters. Why don't you just be our happy little princess? Things are too complicated in the entertainment industry, William suggested, thinking that the entertainment industry was not at all a suitable place for Isabel. Let's not talk about this first. What she needs first is rest, Felix intervened. He knew how much Isabel loved singing. Although he also felt that the entertainment industry was not suitable for a girl like Isabel, it was not the right time for them to discuss that. William waved his hand dismissively. Okay. Take her upstairs to rest first then. Felix brought Isabel upstairs, and she suddenly turned around to hug him. Where are you going? Would you stay here and keep me company? She didn't want to be alone. Sure. I'll stay and be with you today. Would you like to take a shower first? I'll wait for you outside, Felix said. She'll feel better and relaxed after a shower. Okay. Isabel went to shower. Lincoln rushed home when he found out what had happened. The moment he arrived, he saw William sitting in the living room, seemingly deep in thought. Dad, is Isabel back? Lincoln asked. Yes. She's back. I'll go upstairs to check on her, Lincoln answered. She has been pampered since she was little. I bet she's spooked by what happened. Felix is with her. Although William didn't really like Felix before this, he knew Isabel would feel better with Felix around. Oh, I see, Lincoln responded. Felix is a bit too old for Isabel, but I don't mind his age if they're both into each other. Why are you back? William asked Lincoln. Dad, how could I not come back when something like that happened to my daughter? Lincoln questioned. She's my precious daughter. Well, I thought you only care about your work. William mocked. None of this would have happened if Lincoln hadn't been so invested in his career. Lincoln knew his father was unreasonably putting the blame on him, but he had to endure it out of respect for his father. A while later, Sarah also arrived. She wanted to be there earlier, but she was caught up with work. As soon as she entered the house, she saw Lincoln and William sitting on the couch in the living room. Needless to say, both men looked grumpy. Upon heaving a helpless sigh, she walked up to them. What's the matter with the both of you? Did you guys have a fight? She asked. No matter what happened, we should just come up with a solution. What's the point of blaming each other? No. Who would dare to argue with him? He's an influential government official. William uttered sarcastically. Dad, I know I've neglected my family because I've been busy at work, but there's really nothing I can do about it. Lincoln explained. That's just how my job is. Dad, Lincoln didn't wish for this to happen. Even if he was there, what happened would still happen, Sarah uttered. In fact, there was nothing anyone could do to change the outcome of the situation. No one saw it coming. Humph. That's enough. It's frustrating talking to you guys, William grumbled. They're all just a bunch of troublemakers who make me worry every day. William rose to his feet and went upstairs. He wanted to check on Isabel, but he quickly remembered Felix was still there. Hence, he changed his mind. After Isabel was done showering and changing, Felix served her a glass of milk. "Here. Drink this. It'll help you sleep," he said. "Felix, do you find me dramatic? What happened wasn't that big of a deal, was it? Yet, I made so many people worry about me," she said. Felix's heart ached when he heard her say that. "That's not true. You're the best girl on earth, Isabel. Everyone just cares about you, that's all. I'll never let anything happen to you ever again. Okay." Isabel finished the milk and got into bed. However, she had trouble falling asleep. "Felix, where's my phone?" she asked. "I wonder what would happen to my album after everything that unfolded during the press conference. Everyone worked so hard for my album, and I was very confident it would do well. I didn't expect such a thing to happen in the end." Felix was rendered speechless. Why is she still thinking about her album? "Isabel, you need to rest now. Don't worry about anything else. Sophie will settle everything for you," he urged. If Sophie can't even deal with such a minor issue, she shouldn't be operating an agency. Upon hearing that, Isabel blinked and stared at Felix. "Felix, are you mad at me? Your tone was so fierce." In response, Felix took a deep breath. "Okay. I shouldn't behave like this. Otherwise, I'll make Isabel feel worse. No. I'm not mad at you. I just want you to take good care of yourself and not think about anything else." Isabel nodded in response. "I know, but I can't control my emotions, can I? A lot of people invested their time and effort in my album." Words eluded Felix, and he simply nestled into the blanket and wrapped his arms around her. "All right. Shut your eyes and calm your mind. You need to sleep," he demanded. Isabel had never seen Felix behave so authoritatively before. Normally, she would throw a tantrum if someone spoke to her in such a tone. At that moment, however, she obediently shut her eyes. To her surprise, she fell asleep in his arms shortly after. Felix couldn't help heaving a sigh when he saw her sleeping peacefully. "I did everything I can before the press conference to prevent such things from happening, so I didn't expect the incident to happen under my watch. I've heard about those crazy fans, but it's so infuriating knowing that such a thing happened to my own girlfriend." Meanwhile, the public relations team of TS Entertainment had been busy managing the crisis. Since the press conference was broadcasted live, someone had already recorded the incident and published it on video streaming platforms. Some netizens claimed that TS Entertainment staged the incident to boost publicity, while some speculated about the relationship between Isabel and the man who beat the other man up. Obviously, TS Entertainment's public relations team was more than capable of dealing with such matters. Hence, those discussions were shut down fairly quickly. At the same time, the sales of Isabel's album weren't affected in any way. Since it was a matter concerning Isabel, Sophie remained at TS Entertainment to supervise the management personally. Obviously, Sophie didn't want the incident to affect an innocent girl like Isabel. "Isabel is a celebrity under TS Entertainment, so I have the responsibility to protect her." Tristan had full confidence in Sophie's ability, and sure enough, the incident was wrapped up within a few hours. Once she was done with her work, Tristan poured her a glass of water and massaged her shoulders. "All right. You've worked so hard. Have some water." In response, Sophie leaned on him and said, "I'm fine." Realizing that Tristan had been keeping her company the entire time, she urged, "You should head back to check on Isabel. It's actually not that big of a deal. Since she wants to make a name for herself in the entertainment industry, she must have the required psychological endurance. Everyone around her is merely overreacting," Tristan said. In fact, what had happened was considered part and parcel of the entertainment industry. True. Sophie knew he was merely spitting facts. The entertainment industry is complicated, and it's difficult for one to gain a foothold in it. One must have a strong mentality to avoid suffering from depression. Sophie took a rest after she was done with her work at TS Entertainment. By then, Isabel's album was ranked first in several music streaming applications. Well, one has to admit Isabel's album is nothing short of a hit. No matter what others say, excellent songs speak for themselves, so nothing can stop the album from getting the recognition it deserves. This album is going to propel Isabel to greater heights and make her a superstar. Let's go. You haven't eaten anything, right? Tristan asked. Ever since the press conference, she hasn't had a proper rest. Yeah, let's go. We should check on Isabel and have dinner at the Lombard residence. Sophie hadn't seen Isabel since the incident unfolded. Sure. The couple bumped into the Wheelers on their way out. Naturally, the Wheelers had also heard about the incident. Sophie, how is Isabel doing? Although what happened was common in this industry, she's still a young girl, so she must have been shaken. Mark asked in a worried tone. The members of the Wheelers were fond of Isabel. However, they couldn't go and visit Isabel because their schedule was packed. She was frightened, but she's doing fine. She's not as frail as others think. Despite looking delicate and adorable, Isabel was actually a tough girl. Good to know. Should we go see her? Sunny suggested. After all, we're free now. Not now, perhaps. Felix is with her now, Sophie answered. All right, then. I actually want to see her very badly. Sunny pouted, for he was quite fond of Isabel. She'll be back at TS Entertainment tomorrow. We should just let her get enough rest at home today, Sophie said. If the Wheelers were to go over, Isabel wouldn't get to rest at all. Okay. Tristan wrapped his arm around Sophie's waist, and the couple walked toward the exit of the building together. Mark and the others seemed very concerned about Isabel. With that in mind, Tristan uttered, actually, they can visit Isabel if they want to. It's not a big deal. Forget it. Isabel is now at the Lombard residence. Considering your dad's age, a crowd will only tire him out, Sophie replied. There are already so many people in the house. By the time Tristan and Sophie arrived at the Lombard residence, the housekeepers were already done preparing dinner. However, Isabel was still in her room, and Felix remained by her side the whole time. Someone get them to come downstairs. It's been so long, and they're still cooped up inside the room. This is outrageous, William uttered in displeasure. That brat's getting bolder by the day. How dare he stay in Isabel's room for such a long time? Does he not know it's inappropriate? I'll go get them. Sarah got up from the couch. I can't believe these two youngsters. They're totally out of line. They know how irritated Dad can get. Why would they stay in the room for so long? The second Sarah arrived upstairs, Felix had already opened the door to the room. Apparently, William's voice was too loud to ignore, so he had no choice but to exit the room. Sarah arched a brow when she saw Felix. Felix, you've always behaved decently. What's the matter with you today? She asked. Although they're in a relationship, they shouldn't behave so brazenly in the Lombard residence. Sarah, I'm just worried about leaving Isabel alone, so I stayed in her room to be with her. Please don't overthink. I know what I'm doing, Felix answered. Even if I wanted to do anything with Isabel, I wouldn't do it here. What's the matter with you guys, Aunt Sarah? Isabel grumbled. Felix didn't do anything else other than keep me company. They're embarrassing us. All right. It's getting late. Let's go down for dinner. Sarah didn't want to comment further. Despite being slightly older than them, she wasn't a conservative person. Still, Sarah added, I don't care what you guys were doing in the room, but please respect your grandpa. Okay. Isabel was rendered speechless. What? We weren't even doing anything inappropriate. Felix saw how adorable Isabel looked when she pouted grumpily, so he pinched her cheek and said, It's okay. There's no need to argue, all right? No matter what happens, I'll face the consequences. Okay. Isabel responded. I don't care what everyone else says. I'm into Felix, and that's a fact no one can change. Isabel saw Sophie and Tristan the moment she arrived downstairs, and she immediately dashed toward Sophie to sit next to her. Sophie, how's my new album doing? Did the sales get affected? Isabel asked. I've been asleep all this while, and I haven't even had the time to deal with it. What's there to worry about with me handling the issue? Don't worry. Here. Have a look yourself. Sophie handed her phone to Isabel. Isabel felt relieved right away when she saw the rankings on several major music charts. I love you so much, Sophie. I knew it. You can do anything. Isabel exclaimed. I thought my album would be ruined. Who would have thought the situation would turn out much better than I had expected? I told you, didn't I? As long as I'm around, all your problems will be solved, Sophie replied confidently. Those words rendered Felix speechless. Why do I feel so incompetent when Sophie is around? She's taking over my role. I love you, Sophie. You're the best. Isabel was over the moon. At that instant, all her troubles seemed to have vanished. That's enough. Let's eat. It's already so late. Aren't you guys hungry at all? William huffed. Hearing that, Isabel said in a cute tone, I know you were also worried about me, Grandpa. Don't worry, everyone. I'm all right. As a matter of fact, Isabel knew that it wasn't a big deal and that she was merely shaken up. Good. William didn't comment further. All that matters is her happiness. After all, she's the precious little princess of the Lombard family. After dinner, Isabel kept staring at her phone to look at the ranking she got. I have a question for you, Sophie. The ranking I got is legit, right? Did you pay the music charts to make this happen? Sophie was caught off guard by that question. Isabel, you've always been confident in your album, no? The recognition you got shouldn't be that surprising. Isabel felt embarrassed. I know, and I have full confidence in my album. However, I didn't expect it to do so well. That was why Isabel was skeptical. Isabel then hugged Sophie and said, What would I do without you, Sophie? I couldn't have gotten to where I am today without Sophie. Even without me, you would still be successful, Sophie responded. I merely provided Isabel with the opportunity, and the rest is up to her. If she weren't capable, no amount of money could buy her success. Well, nothing can change the love I have for you. Isabel was love-struck. Felix saw how she acted, and he wasn't pleased. What are you looking at? Isabel asked unhappily. To me, Sophie is the best in the world, and no one can ever be as good as she is. Not even Felix can compare to her. I know you love her with all your heart, and what you guys have is nothing but true love. I know where I stand, Felix replied. What can I do when the woman I love is in love with another woman? I have never expected my love rival to be a woman. You can't treat Felix that way, Isabel. He had been keeping you company ever since the incident, Sophie advised. Isabel nodded in response. Don't worry, Sophie. I know what you mean. Isabel knew how much Felix cared about her. I'll never find another man like him. I'm so grateful to have found him. By the way, what are we going to do about that man? Regardless of what he did, he's still a fan of mine. He was simply not in his right mind, Isabel uttered. Although I'm not happy with what happened, he's still my fan. I don't think we should be too hard on him. Upon hearing that, Sophie raised her brows. I'm not in charge of dealing with that, so you'll have to ask Felix, she answered. Since that man had the guts to do such a thing to Isabel, Felix would definitely go after him. In truth, I don't even have the courage to talk to him about this. What should we do? Isabel asked. You don't have to worry about that. Felix will deal with it. He knows what to do, so just leave everything to him, Sophie answered. That man was out of his mind, and he should be taught a lesson. Nothing can justify the actions of harming another person. That's totally unacceptable. All right then, Isabel uttered. To be honest, it's a small matter, and I'm fine. Sophie, don't you think I'm a useless person? Isabel queried. If I didn't overreact, everyone wouldn't get so worked up. You did well, Isabel. Don't blame yourself when you haven't done anything wrong, Sophie stated. That fan was out of line, and he should pay for the consequences. Isabel's mood improved after she had a chat with Sophie. Frankly, I think I should have done better. If I were as capable as you, none of this would have happened, Isabel uttered. If I could fight as well as Sophie, I could have sent that man flying with a kick when he hugged me. I could then prevent things from getting out of control. It's not your fault you can't fight. Not everyone can fight as well as I can. Moreover, you have us. We can protect you, so you don't have to worry about anything. Sophie knew Isabel had no talent for fighting. Meanwhile, Felix and Tristan were drinking together. Sean couldn't make it because he had to deal with a challenging case. What are you planning to do to that man? Tristan asked. I'm not going to get involved because Felix is now responsible for protecting Isabel. He'll be taught a lesson, of course. Otherwise, how would he know he had messed with the wrong people? Felix stated. Even I would think twice before touching Isabel. How could I forgive that disgusting man for his actions? Okay, I'll leave the matter to you. Tristan didn't think he needed to intervene now that Felix was around. I've never opposed your relationship with Isabel. As for my dad, you shouldn't take his temper to heart. That's just how he is. As long as both of you are happy, I don't think he'll make your life difficult, Tristan assured. What matters the most is their happiness. They can disregard the rest. Hearing that, Felix raised his glass and said, Mr. Tristan, I know you'll always have my back. You're my best buddy. Buddy. I'm going to be your uncle in the future, right? Tristan teased. Maybe he should start addressing me as his uncle. Felix was at a loss for words. I knew this day would come, but I didn't expect it to come so soon. What's the matter? Do you not want that? It's all right. That's a dream for a lot of men out there, Tristan uttered smugly. Needless to say, Tristan was right. Do we need to be so formal with each other, Mr. Tristan? Felix asked. We've been friends for so many years. Does that not count for something? It seems like you're not that into Isabel, after all. In that case, forget about it. Isabel has plenty of suitors. She doesn't need you to make compromises for her sake. Tristan replied. Felix was rendered speechless once again. What? How can he say I'm not into Isabel? I love her more than anything in the world. When Sophie and Tristan were on their way home, she couldn't help but laugh when she recalled the troubled expression Felix had on his face. Why did you do that? Why did you have to bully Felix? Sophie asked. I think Felix has been nice enough to Isabel. Did I bully him? I've been on his side since the beginning. Tristan responded. I've been supporting Felix when Dad has been against it. What more can I do? True, Sophie said. At least we've already taken care of the incident that happened today. However, it seems like the incident is still bothering old Mr. Lombard. Back then, Isabel only joined the entertainment industry because of me. It's only natural for old Mr. Lombard to feel angry now that something like that had happened. Dad loves Isabel too much. Tristan seemed to know what was on Sophie's mind, so he comforted her by saying, That's just how my dad is. Don't take it to heart, okay? I know. Don't worry. I won't take offense at him, Sophie assured. Also, try not to mention he's old to his face. He likes to think that he's still a young man, Tristan advised. Who would have thought that an old man like him would still care about such a thing? Understood, Sophie answered. To be honest, I also want old Mr. Lombard to be happy. Are you tired? Tristan asked because Sophie didn't take a nap because she had to deal with what happened today. Not really. Get some shut-eye. I'll wake you up when we arrive. No. I want to chat with you, Sophie refused. He didn't get enough rest either. I should talk to him so he wouldn't feel sleepy behind the wheel. Don't worry. Just get some sleep, okay? Or do you not trust my driving skills? Why would I not? I trust whatever you do, Sophie stated. If I didn't, why would I let him take care of me? Perhaps Sophie was really exhausted from dealing with things over the past few days because, in the end, she fell asleep in the car. Upon arriving at the mansion, Tristan exited the car and gave the car key to Micah before going to the passenger seat to carry Sophie out of the car. The moment he touched Sophie, however, she woke up. Are we home already? She asked. I didn't know I would fall asleep. Yes. We're home, but it's okay. You can continue sleeping. Tristan carried her with ease and brought her to their room. Tristan placed her on the bed and tucked her in. I haven't taken my bath. Sophie was still in a sleepy daze, but she was used to bathing before going to bed. She had mild mysophobia, so she couldn't tolerate going to sleep before cleaning herself up. Do you want me to bathe you? Tristan's eyes were burning with desire. I don't mind bathing her. Sophie swept a glance at him in response. This man has naughty thoughts in his mind, doesn't he? Yet, he looks so attractive. Sure. You can bathe me, she answered. Let's just hope he wouldn't feel aroused and become uncomfortable afterward. Really? Sophie nodded. I'll go get the bath ready, Tristan exclaimed. Throughout their relationship, all they had ever done was kiss and fool around with each other. They hadn't done anything more intimate than that. Obviously, that was what Tristan wanted because he was adamant about only having sex after getting married. That was his way of protecting her. Tristan ran the bath with warm water and added essential oils into the tub. When he came out of the bathroom, he saw that Sophie was still lazing on the bed. Are you sure you want me to bathe you? Tristan asked again. In response, Sophie spread her arms open. Tristan knew what she wanted right away, so he carried her into his arms. She's always an independent girl, and she's only clingy when she's sleepy, but I'm in love with this side of her. After all, she's only behaving this way with me. Besides, I'm more than willing to do whatever she wants me to do. Tristan carried Sophie into the bathroom and helped her put on a pair of slippers to prevent her from slipping. Sophie quietly allowed Tristan to attend to her needs and look after her. After putting on the slippers for her, Tristan started undressing her. The second he took off her jacket, she laughed and said, "Let's just forget about it. I don't want you to get aroused and suffer afterward. I feel bad for you." Since Sophie was well versed in medicine, she knew just how uncomfortable it was for men when their sexual urges weren't relieved and how intense their thirst for a woman's body could get. Tristan wrapped his arms around her and said, "You're truly an enthralling vixen. You have no idea how hard it has been to suppress my urge." Having done that for such a long time, he knew his past efforts would be in vain if he were to succumb to his urges. "No one told you to do so. I don't really mind." Sophie didn't mind having premarital sex. "But I do. I want you to have an unforgettable wedding. Obviously, that includes our first night together as a married couple." Upon hearing that, Sophie leaned on his shoulder. "Well, sure," she said. "I'm so blessed to have found a man who cares about me with all his heart. In this day and age, I doubt there's anyone like him. Enjoy your bath. I know you're exhausted. Get some sleep after your bath, okay? I'll bathe you after we get married." Sophie was at a loss for words. Is that why he's in such a hurry to marry me? Does he want to bathe me so badly? Sophie was blushing even after Tristan had left the bathroom. Why am I blushing when he didn't even do anything? Tristan was a charming and attractive man, so Sophie had sexual desires as well. However, since Tristan had already told her he would wait until after the wedding, she was too embarrassed to initiate sex. Sophie exited the bathroom after bathing and saw Tristan walking up to her with a glass of hot milk. "Drink this before you sleep." Tristan noticed how much weight she had lost when he hugged her just now. "I'm worried that her health might not allow her to withstand what we're going to do after we get married. From now on, I must make sure she stays healthy." Sophie took the glass of milk. It was still hot, so she only drank a few mouthfuls. When Tristan saw the corners of her lips that were stained with milk, his gaze dimmed immediately. There and then, he was aroused. Sophie saw the look in his eyes, and her heart skipped a beat. Needless to say, she knew what was on his mind. In the next second, Tristan wrapped his arms around her waist and licked the milk stains off of the corner of her mouth. Despite having taken a few sips of milk just moments ago, Sophie felt her throat drying up at that instant. This feeling. "Oh, Mr. Tristan," she murmured. Since he was hugging her tightly, she could feel his engorged private part pressing against her tummy. "I want to devour you so badly," Tristan uttered. "She's driving me crazy. If only I could." "Ugh. Forget about it. Sleep early." "I'm going back to my room," he suddenly said. "I need to calm myself down." "Okay. Go on." Sophie nodded. "What else can I say? I shouldn't make it harder for him." Tristan took the glass from her and emptied it before leaving the room. Sophie then went to bed with her cheeks flushed. "He's so captivating. What should I do? I can't wait to marry him and sleep with him." The next morning, they had coffee and hash browns for breakfast at the dining table. Sophie didn't like bread, so Tristan would prepare whatever food she liked for her. After breakfast, Tristan sent Sophie to the University of Medicine for her assessment. Sophie got out of the car when they arrived at the University of Medicine, and Tristan couldn't help suggesting, "Maybe I should just stay here to keep you company." "That won't be necessary. You have things to attend to, no? It's just a simple assessment." "I can manage," Sophie answered. "There's absolutely nothing to worry about. I'm only taking the assessment because those professors are concerned." "Okay then. Go on. Don't you have a lot of matters to handle at Lombard Group?" Lombard Group was a major corporation, so naturally, there were a lot of issues to iron out. "But I don't want to part with you, not even for a minute," Tristan uttered half-jokingly. "Oh. Then what should we do? Kiss me." "I'll leave after you kiss me," Tristan answered. "I'm not asking for too much, right?" Sophie scanned her surroundings, and the place was teeming with students of the University of Medicine. In fact, some of them were looking at them curiously. Right then, a gust of wind blew past and messed up Sophie's long hair. She then quickly tidied her hair up, bent forward, and kissed the corners of Tristan's lips. Just as she was about to straighten her body, he suddenly cradled the back of her head and deepened the kiss. "Wow. Isn't that Sophie? Who's that man? Is he her boyfriend? He looks so dashing from the side. What the?" "This is so unfair. Not only is she pretty, but her boyfriend is also dashing."
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.